NLSAT examination is your gateway to the top law college in the country, that is NLS Bangalore. So in case you wish to prepare for this examination, you are looking at NLSAT 2024, then this is the video in which I'm going to tell you clearly what is the strategy for this examination. Because before preparing for the examination, we need to have a clear outline कि किस तरह से हम इस examination के proceed करेंगे. We should have a clear idea that how are we supposed to prepare for this examination. So let's start with this video. Hi guys, I'm Aishi, your mentor for law-based examinations, and welcome to Law Digest. For the start, I would say that there are certain things that are very important for everyone to understand and know before approaching any examination. These things are to be kept in mind. The first thing is that you need to have a look at the previous year question papers. So what they do is they do not release their part B question paper, they release part A question paper. However, on YouTube, I have discussed the questions जो part B में भी पूछे गए हैं. I've discussed both part A, part B. So you can check my videos firstly on this, just in case you do not have access to these papers, which are also provided by us in the module. Now PYQs आपने एक बार देख लिया. You've seen the PYQs, understand the pattern, what there is. Then come to the syllabus. If you'll go to their website, clearly part A, part B karke, you've been given the syllabus that what will be asked in part A, what will be asked in part B. When you will see the PYQs, you'll also understand the pattern, that how in part A there are passage based questions. There's a passage which is followed by 8 to 10 questions, and you have to answer those. These questions pertain to different areas. We're going to discuss further about these things. Then part B will have your case studies and essay. So ye understanding you have to get from the previous year question papers, and you have to see the level of questions asked. Now, looking at the pattern, you need to understand one thing, that there is equal weightage. In 2022, what happened was part A was only qualification based, and part B, an interview was there which was compiled in order to frame the merit list. But in 2023, they changed it to the fact that part A, part B both have equal weightage. So you have to give equal importance to both the parts. Last year, what happened was some students were confused and they were focusing more on part B, which is why I've seen many students who got good scores in part B. They lagged behind because they could not score well in part A, and they sort of ignored part A. So remember, both the parts are equally important for this examination, mandatory. 75 का weightage रहता है. I've already explained to you the division of this paper in an earlier video. You can understand the pattern in detail if you want. Then you have to keep in mind that it's going to be a 150-minute paper. So part B is your subjective writing. You have to write answers. So 6 questions भी लिखने हैं. You also have to write an essay of 500 words. So you have to manage all of that in 150 minutes. So you have to keep a clear strategy in mind from the beginning, that how am I supposed to divide my time? How will I proceed further and practice accordingly? Then we have a few videos of people who've cleared this examination. Some of our students who've cleared the examination. It's already there on YouTube. You can watch their stories, make your strategy, listen to this video, hear from their strategy, and frame your own strategy. That is how, you need to begin with. Now, let us in detail have a look at the different pattern. So here I've created a mind map for you to understand कि क्या-क्या चीजें आपको दिमाग में रखनी है. What all things are to be kept in mind so that you don't miss out on things. Here we are talking about part A. Part A will have your reading comprehension. Comprehension based skills will be judged. They've mentioned it on the website. Current affairs will be there, although they've not mentioned that it includes legal current affairs, but I'm telling you that legal current affairs questions are also asked. Then there is critical reasoning. So these 3 parts we are clear with. In comprehension based questions, what are they looking for out of you? That you understand from the passage what is the inference, what is the author trying to say. That inference you need to make out. So it's very important that you understand the tone of the author, what is the author trying to say, what are the words, what do they mean. So vocabulary, grammar, although in 2022 there were more questions on grammar, on sentence correction, but we did not see the same in 23 as much. So inference is something that is the main focus that you need to look at. So inference के लिए क्या करेंगे? We are going to read a lot of things. We have to read newspapers, articles, magazines, anything that you come across. Try to read things and make a frame in your head that what is actually the author trying to say and what is the view that the author is supporting. Then current affairs. All these things are also interlinked. like current affairs may what is there, that obviously you'll read the newspaper, but yes, I would say that do not make the mistake of making notes from newspaper every day, because it is a very tedious job. We as a coaching center have a separate individual who is dedicated to this work only, from the 9 to 6 job that they have. So I would say that rather than making your own notes, try take up notes online, even if not from us, any coaching that you feel like, or you can check online compendiums that are available. Take current affairs ready made notes, don't make your own notes. What will be you do with the newspaper? I'm going to tell you further. How are you going to utilize the newspaper for your benefit? एक तो time frame is also important. Current affairs of past 1 year is important. Now we did see that in 2023 paper they did ask certain things that pertain to years earlier than past 1 year. So आसपास का जो हमारा consideration period है, we have 2023 to 2024 in hand, and the paper happened in April. So I would say at least start from Jan 2023 to have an idea. Then notes I already told you. Now what happens is that in current affairs, you need to have an update of the burning legal topics. Like presently we know that Manipur violence case is flaring all over the country, so the passage can be based around that. It can be something related to any sexual violence or rape cases, or exact Manipur case, or any static passage. Any author, maybe they pick up an author who writes about these things, the Taslima Nasreen, or these kinds of authors, unke book se koi excerpt uta liya, any article that has been picked up from their book, anything can be asked. So there is no limit to the passage. You have to be aware with the current updates, and it has been felt, I told in my videos, that it is being seen that they're sort of inclined towards movie news. So anything relates to movie, like last year Shah Rukh Khan, Kantara, all these things were asked. Dada Sahib Phalke Award, these things are important for this examination somehow. But yeah, you need to know about these things. Then critical reasoning becomes very important, because this is the area where students get stuck at. Critical reasoning may, it's important that you do not need to memorize things. It is all about inference again. Here, this is an inference from English point of view. Critical reasoning is more from logical point of view. Now here, critical reasoning can also involve your legal questions. Now what is there here that you need to see? There's a skill that you need to develop. What is that skill? That you need to be able to read closely, read the editorials. Now, when you're reading the editorials, try to see that what is the author trying to say, and try to justify it in your head, that does he make sense or not, and try to argue the opposite side, that the author is in favor. If the author says that Manipur violence was justified, you have to take the other view. Or if the author is condemning it, you have to take the other view, only for your preparation sake. I'm not telling you to change your viewpoint on things, but only for your preparation sake, you have to see that whether you are able to make arguments on the other side. दूसरी तरफ से भी आप सोच पा रहे हो या नहीं. So basically you have to broaden your horizon and see that what are the points that I can look at. If there is a one particular topic, can I be in favor of it or can I be against it? Try to think from both the angles. Then when you are reading newspaper is important to understand that what are the things that the author is trying to say, what is he trying to infer, what is the argument that he's making, is there any assumption based on which this argument is coming up, is there any conclusion that we can draw from this. So these things, conclusion, inference, assumption, these three things are important. So when you're reading the newspaper, any article that you may be reading, you have to keep in mind that am I able to draw this understanding that what is the conclusion from the statement, what is the assumption of the statement. So keep that thing in mind when you're reading the newspapers. Then legal reasoning, as I said, can be a part of this, wherein a factual situation is given to you, some law is given to you, any hypothetical facts and legal situation, and based on that you have to choose the option that is correct, because part A आपका MCQ based है. You can also look up legal websites, because what happens is that if the passage comes on any legal topic, you should be able to read. आपको बहुत tough नहीं लगना चाहिए. You should be versed with the terms. I wouldn't say well versed, but then you should have a basic understanding. So if you'll start reading legal websites, read any legal blog that you like, and with that slowly you'll develop that art of understanding how the legal words are written. And especially, I would say, when we're talking about legal, there is no prior knowledge of law that they require out of you. Only you need to know the legal current affairs, any important landmark judgment, these things you need to know. But pehle se kuch aisa nahi hai that you have to remember or memorize anything. Legal current affairs, in any case, we do cover on the channel. And also, I would say, in the module that we are providing to you, the online module that's available on our website, we are providing you with a lot of passages followed by questions from these areas, so that you know how to deal with these questions. आपकी एक practice, एक understanding बन सके, apart from the lectures that we have on these areas to again help you understand. For this, I would say that if you want to prepare for from your own end, if you don't want to enroll for any coaching, one thing that you need to keep in mind is that there is no book for this examination. So how are you going to do it? Practice maybe English ke reading comprehension jo hote hain aapki 6 to 10th NCRTs, pick those up, try to practice from those. Then for critical reasoning, I would say pick up GMAT material, practice from there, or newspaper you're already doing. Then what you can do is there are critical reasoning की जब हम बात करते हैं, so there you might find questions on statement assumption, statement conclusion, statement reasoning, these areas. Pick up any book, be it GMAT, be it MBA books, CAT books, उसमें ये चीजें होती है, so that can maybe give you some sort of practice, although it might not be very accurate as it is asked in the examination, but then it will give you an idea. आपका वो brain warming up हो जाएगा, you will be able to warm up as to be able to think from a different point of view what the author is trying to say. So you have to gauge things. That skill you have to develop in the next 9-10 months. Then moving forward, let us look at part B. Part B is your subjective part. That part has your case studies, which also includes your essay. So here, as we say, essay and case study. Now, I had already told that essay here that is spoken about is analytical reasoning essay. So do not confuse it with any current affairs based essay. So in the case studies, what will happen is you will be given 6 case studies and they'll be of 10 mark each, and you have to write them down. You have to write your answer down in 300 to 350 words. That is the word limit that is prescribed. Now, what has been happening, I have been checking mocks, and last year, like, we've been conducting mocks since the time this examination has come into being. There, I felt that there are certain students who make some very peculiar mistakes. What those mistakes are? That they try to quote the law in that situation. You do not have to do that. They've clearly specified that they don't want your knowledge of law. So even if you're reading the facts and you studied law for, say, NLSAT, then if you get that idea that this legal situation is applying to this particular case, I will use that here, I will quote it here, like breach of contract. Don't try to involve the legal concepts here. Right from argument point of view, basic understanding, common logic से आपको ये answers लिखने हैं. You have to write those down. I have a few videos available on YouTube to help you understand how are you supposed to do the answer writing. It will give you a very fair idea. If you're totally new to this examination, you will get a better understanding that how are you supposed to write those answers. Now, for these answers, for practice, I would say that there are no case studies or book, as I said earlier, available online. What we are doing is, in the module, we are providing you with 85 plus case studies and we are giving you answer solutions to that. Now, if you are not a person who wants to go for coaching, what will you do? Maybe, in your head, you can develop that case scenario. You read something in the newspaper, you frame a situation for you around it. Or, pick up any legal case. Simplified legal cases you can pick up, and, you can frame your case study and then accordingly answer it. If you find it difficult to find case laws ki kis pe hum bana sakte hain, there's a free PDF of mine available on my website. The link is in the description of this video to the website, wherein I've made a compendium of top 100 judgments. You pick those judgments up, you try to alter the factual situation there, and then you try to write the answer for those situations. So ab yahan par what the situation is, that there is no correct answer to these questions. You can pick up either for or against. You can write from any side that you like. try to keep at least 4 to 5 points, because here, as I was saying, mocks mein kya hote hai, students, they are not able to think beyond 2-3 points. So you have to reach, you have to touch that limit ki aap 5 arguments at least bana sako, and then expand those arguments while you are answering the question. Then when we speak of essays, what you have to do again, essays में भी जैसे आप critical reasoning में कर रहे थे, again you can use that preparation for essay, because in essay you have to do analytical reasoning based essay. So analytical reasoning based essay is not an essay where you will write down facts from current affairs, that okay, Manipur violence is the issue, so this and this happened, there was a fight that was happening between Methi community and Kuki community, and all those things, you were not supposed to write those down कि वो scheduled tribes का status grant करना सीख कर रहे थे, or what the high court order was. All these things you're not supposed to quote. They expect you that you already know this. Now they are wanting to see your understanding as to the situation. So it will not be any current affair topic direct. What they'll do is they'll make a statement around it and they will seek your opinion on it. For example, they would tell you that, in the Manipur violence case, there was a dispute between two communities, and we all know that two females, they were sexually molested, raped, murdered, and they were paraded. So these things will be mentioned, and then they'll ask you, is it justified? So there you do not need to give these current affairs facts. You need to give your understanding of current affairs. What do you understand from the actual situation? You need to give your arguments. Is it justified? You can talk about, rights of people, human rights. Don't go into law again, I would say. But then, thoda bahut usse draw karke, you can write down things. You must have read many articles on this. So you must have understood what different authors feel on this situation, and you can develop your own viewpoint. I would say that for essays, it's very important that daily you write one essay. How are you going to do that? Go to the editorial section of the newspaper, see what is the news item, and try to write down in your own words an essay opposite to what the editor has written. You will try to develop that skill, that what are your points. Even if you don't want to write in the opposite stance, take the same stance, but do not read the editorial. Try to write in your own points and then read what the author is trying to say. And here in analytical reasoning, what is required is that you take both the sides. For, against, दोनों से ही आपको लिखना है, but then one side has to be predominant so that it is clear that what your viewpoint is, what your stand is. So if you take for side, try to justify that why the against side is not that strong. So you have to give points in that respect. यहाँ पर आपको ऐसे already 500 words में लिखना है. So even if you're not able to make 500 words in those for वाला situation, so against situation आपको साथ में लेके चलनी है. You will take that and you will try to refute the points that are from the against side, and that is how you will be able to write down things well. At the same time, it's very important that structuring the essay is very important. It should have a proper introduction, body, conclusion. In the body, as I said, you have to develop your arguments, and against side say bhi you have to try to put the against side down and accordingly structure. It should not be a haphazard essay so that it is not clear to the reader that what are you actually trying to say, what side are you taking. It has to be very clear. And further, I would say that time is a very important factor for part B, because what happens is that students spend a lot of time elsewhere and they're not able to write down, because यहाँ पे आपको काफी you'll have to write down. यहाँ पे 300-350 words लिखे हैं, वो भी for 6 questions, so approximately 2000 words, and यहाँ पे 500 words आपको लिखने हैं. And you also have to give time to part A for reading passages, inferring from there. So approximately जो आपके पास time यहाँ के लिए part B के लिए बचता है, if we take it to be 75 minutes, because 75 minutes can be taken up in part A as well. So in this time of 75 minutes, you have to write these answers. So probably you have 10 minutes for every case study, in which you have to read the factual situation also, which is quite a bit, and you have to write down things also, and you have to frame in your head also. Even for the essay, how much time is left? 15 minutes is left. So you really have to work on your speed. It's very important for this examination that you are working on your speed, because speed, I've seen many students giving this examination since the start, and speed is one problem that students face. So it's very important to, you'll be already reading so many things and articles and editorials, आपकी reading speed already उससे develop हो जाएगी, but further you have to keep in mind that speed is an important factor to this examination. Now I would say that whatever way you find comfortable with, I've told you how to go about things. Just in case you feel that you need additional help and you're looking for coaching, then you can check our website www.lawdigest.in, where you will find a full course on NLSAT examination, wherein we are covering everything as you see here. NLSAT specifics, 311 lessons. So here, all those part A passages, your vocabulary lectures, English reading comprehension lectures, all those things and case studies, everything is covered. Some basic legal concepts we've given, so that, if the passage is legal based, then you have an understanding. And it helps in your part B, in the sense that part B mein you don't have to quote the law, but at the same time you have an understanding ki legally kya principles rehte hain, to usko mold karke you can write down in your answers. Current affairs is there, legal GK current affairs is there. It is updated monthly, and MCQs are also provided to you, so that you can practice well, you can remember things well. So that is all I had to share with you for this one. I hope that now you have a mental map ready, that how are you supposed to go for this examination. Just in case you have any doubts or queries, drop down the same in the comment box below, and I'll get back to you on those. Further, make sure that you're following the channel, subscribe kijiye channel ko, and also follow us on Instagram for covering your legal updates.